This Sunday. Every Sunday. Side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here! Relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Yeah, any doctors in the house, please report to duty right now. We need you very, very much so. So you've tuned into, this is why, you've tuned into Motormouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show with your hosts, Ray Guarino, and straight from his stint from the part shopping bin is Mr. Brian, Matcoman Brian himself. Brian, how are you today?
Hey, Ray, how you doing? Hey, guys, what's going on? Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yes, happy Father's Day. It sure is, and we get to do this as a result. And you get to do this as a result because Chris is out having a happy Father's Day with his family. So we do what we do. We roll and we roll with the punches and make it work. So
that's right.
Yeah. So that's so good. So if people want to talk to me or to the guy who actually now blows up our YouTube channel, Brian, last week since I posted the video, the picture of you, and we talked about your Carlisle trip, we had more YouTube hits on the Motormouth video channel than normal. And it's probably
that's awesome.
It's because of you. So call us 516-572-7440. Check us out on social media, Motormouth Radio on Facebook and X. It's real_Motormouth Radio on Instagram. And of course, YouTube is Motormouth Radio or Motormouth Video, where you can put the same thing up twice. So there you go. So that being said, yeah. And what happens right here? We do, you light the phone up right away. Look at that, Brian. We got a phone caller. Say hi, caller. You're on with the Motormouths.
Wow, do I win a prize for being the first caller?
Yeah, you get to be the first one to say whatever it is you want to say.
Well, I usually get to do that anyway, but I just wanted to do a shout-out. Happy Father's Day to all the dads and the single moms, because they serve a dual role. So
that's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't want both jobs.
No, one is hard enough.
Exactly. So, anyhow, Brian, good to have you on.
Oh, thank you, John.
Chris is listening. Chris, wherever you are, happy Father's Day.
Yeah, I think Chris is having some family fun today, so that's good. We always encourage that, and just so you know, I'll mention at the end of the show. But the next 2 weeks, none of us are going to be here. We're going to be doing some replays, and I'll tell you what, I already picked the shows. We're going to pick 2 shows from last year. Next Sunday is going to be the Lake Speed Junior show. We talked all about oil and tribology because that is phenomenal. And the following week, I'm going to have Alana Scher on, who's going to be coming back with us shortly. So we'll recap with her on her projects out in California. And then the third week on July 6th, when I come back from my trip, Brian, you'll be back here with me.
Awesome.
Chris will be away. He'll come back on the 13th.
Just keep me in the closet. It's okay. Bring me out. I'm ready.
Listen, you know I've been doing a lot of work in the house, on the apartment. One of the things I did was I made the closet a little more comfortable for you. We kind of we
That's
gave
awesome.
More room. A skosh more room, as they used to say.
Hopefully by then I can get some more pictures on the car. I had a little mishap yesterday when I was working. I said, "Oh, I need to take a picture for Ray."
Uh-huh.
And I looked around, I couldn't find my phone, and I stepped up, and guess what I heard?
Crunch.
Crunch.
Oh no, what'd you do?
And I took out the camera on the phone.
Oh geez, you sure did.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not very good taking pictures. And I was like, I'm doing this and doing that. I'll take a couple pictures. And I must have slid off and got on the floor, and I didn't realize. And I said, let me find the phone, and
Yeah.
boom, there goes the camera. So hopefully by then I'll have it fixed and maybe a few more pictures.
What say you to that, John?
Thank God for the cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah, I know. That's so we roll with it. You know what? I'm in the same boat. My fingerprint recognition isn't being so. Some days it doesn't want to recognize me, so it's time for a new phone, I think. But technology marches on.
It always does, but to that point, now that you've gotten more on the video channel, thanks to Brian.
Oh yeah.
Brian, hopefully you'll get enough residuals from GQ when they chase you down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I don't think so either. No. Jeez.
Sorry.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you go to the bathroom, everybody calls you back.
I know.
Back and you left messages for 3 people 2 days ago.
Well, that's why this morning, if you would have seen when I turned my phone on, it started right away. And you want to send Father's Day greetings to friends and family, whatever. So I said, let's get this out of the way now, all right? Because I'm going to be busy in a little while, and I can't be, let's finish it up. So hopefully it's worked. Well, thanks, John. Listen, have a great Father's Day.
And back at you.
And enjoy our replays for the next 2 weeks, and save up some stories for 3 weeks when we come back.
Yeah, I'm always there.
You got it. I know that. I appreciate it too.
Brian, good to have you, and I always enjoy your parking lot adventures. But
yeah, excellent.
Yep, that's true.
All righty, John. Thank you.
They are adventures.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
Okay,
Catch you in 3 weeks.
All right. It's funny, Brian, because I actually went to Harbor Freight yesterday, or as Cliff says, Hobo Freight. And there was a specific reason. Well, I had a $5 off coupon. I wanted to use it, but I was preparing things for this road trip I'm going to take, and so I told my wife, "Yeah, look, you'll be out." I already started packing. She goes, "Oh, you know what? Your clothes?" I'm like, "Clothes? No." I said, "That's a couple of pair of shorts, t-shirts in the bag." Flip-flops and a hat. I'll do that on a way out the door. I said, no, I'm putting tools together, because when I go to the South, my daughter is, I usually work on her car. This time she doesn't need a lot of maintenance, but I'm bringing stuff anyway. And one of the things she did say was all the filters have been taken care of, oil changes are taken care of. So I asked her, what about tire rotations? And she says, oh yeah, I don't think we did that. I'm like, okay, so you're just insured. I have to bring the biggest, heaviest tools, the floor, and I'm bringing the big floor jack this time, and the 1/2-inch impact gun, and the sockets, and the breaker bar. I said, so now I got to bring like the heaviest stuff, no matter what. But I said, also, there's one of her tires has a slow leak, and the guy didn't want to plug it because he said it was too close to the sidewall. And I said, well, that's true. You don't plug it on the sidewall. Now, I shouldn't say this live. I mean, if it's almost on the transition, kind of, in the fat part, I've plugged it, and I've been okay. So I said, and I just had to fix a tire on my beater car, the Mazda, the other day, because it lost air. And I checked, I pulled the tire, and it was a plug that I'd put in before. And I'm using these stop-and-go tire plugs. It looks like a mushroom. There's a gun that injects it. Well, it was leaking from the plug, believe it or not. So I pushed it in the tire. And then I couldn't get the gun in easy enough, so I went to the old style, the
T-handle,
the snotty, stringy, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So I put the first one in, and let me ask you this: because I was never really a tire tech. I kind of learned it by default. you put that string through the eye of the needle on the T-handle piece, and you push it through the tire. So now it kind of bends up like a U. So you push it through. My thought was push it all the way through and then pull it back up so the U part comes up through the tire instead of the two legs sticking up. Do you follow me?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's right or not.
that's the way I do it. Actually, Ray, you sent me this morning the kid with the screwdriver scratching on the side of the car,
Yes.
and about Father's Day. And of course, I could not send you a picture back on what I was doing. One of my daughters had five, not one, but five nails in one tire.
Oh God.
So I was like, I am not a tire plug guy. I do
Okay.
not believe in them. I do not like them. And unfortunately, I had to put five plugs in the tire so that it's drivable or movable at this moment. So,
That may be a little
yeah,
excessive. Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, I've been using plugs for many years, and like I said, I use the Stop and Go tire plug kit. This isn't an endorsement, or maybe it is. I use it; it works. I like it. This is the first time I found one that leaked, and years later, I don't know when I plugged that tire. But the
yeah.
question
No,
I
we
have,
used to use those. Same thing. That was one, or the old, the like you said, the stringy, snotty ones or whatever.
right.
I mean, I've done them. I did it. I'm not a big tire plug guy.
So the
And
problem I had though was when I put the string into the tire and went to pull it out, the tool it stayed in the tire. The tool came out off the plug. I'm like, how did it come off? If I could see if it came off the end, but it didn't. No, the tool I have, that needle end is split at the end, so it just pulled it off the. Like, oh wow, I should it be split? So I only had two of them, so that one was a waste. I put my last one in, and I had it with the legs sticking out, and I raised them off. So far, it's holding air.
yeah, you're supposed to stick them in, twist it, and then pull it.
Okay.
And that's supposed to bring it up and supposed to like loop it or make a knot or some sort. I had difficulties with one that I plugged this morning. I had to mess with it two or three times, but yeah, they're great. I mean, they're good. My end of it is that tire is no longer speed rated, so you just have to
Yeah.
watch it.
Well, what I learned was I said, okay, I'm out of those plug things, the stringy thing. So I said, I got to go to Harbor Freight. Let me see if I got to use this $5 coupon. Let me see if they have plug refills. And I was another story I'm going to talk about. I had to use a pair of snap ring pliers this week. And the ones I had at home were kind of from hunger. I had a good brand new channel lock pair at the shop. So I said, maybe I'll get a new pair of snap ring pliers while I'm there. And, I needed another pair of earmuffs, So I did a couple things I wanted, and that's why Harbor Freight is good. You can get some stuff that's actually now fairly decent quality for a good price. So I'm searching the aisle. I find the tire plug stuff, and all they had was the same. It's a blister pack kit. It's the reamer. It's that tool for the snotty thing, a couple snotty things, and they also give you a razor, and they also give you a tube of contact like rubber cement that they say you're supposed to put on that thing first. I said, well, I don't want the whole kit. I already bought that. That's the crappy tool I'm using now. So I got the plugs from my auto parts store. They had them. They gave me a strip of maybe, I think, 6 or 8 of them. It was like $5. I said, okay. So that's what took me to Harbor Freight. But I was looking for the Matco guy in the parking lot, and he wasn't there.
I might, if I have time today, I might have to roll through and check out the neighborhood. So, but you never know.
Yeah, they're doing a parking lot sale this week. So that leads me to the other reason, the reason I was looking for those snap ring pliers, and I had sent you this earlier in the week. Again, putting tools together for this trip, I said, okay, I'm not going to bring rails or sockets. So I said, you know what? I got that Silverline Matco 1/4-inch drive, deep and shallow socket set from you a couple of years ago. So I'm going to take that, and I just need a 1/4-inch to half adapter if I want to use any Milwaukee battery tools. So I opened it up, said, okay, everything looks great here. And I had replaced the ratchet that came with it that I didn't like. It was kind of choppy with a Matco flex head ratchet. And just instinctively, I picked it up and went to turn it and said, why isn't it ratcheting? It's not turning. Why is it like, what the hell? I turned it over. I looked at the bottom and I saw some discoloration. So I said, let me take this apart and take a look. That's why I needed the snap ring pliers. Well, once I got it apart, I found the whole inside was rusted. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? This ratchet sits, and I thought I would have had it apart once before, but I guess not. It sits in that box on my toolbox in the garage where everything else, where it's dry. So that's why I sent you the picture. Like, what the hell's going on with this? Is that Matco's new lubricant? Is it like?
No, unfortunately, I see that sometimes. Usually it's the guys that work outside.
Sure.
They get a lot of condensation in them or so forth. But yeah, that was a little bit of a weird thing to see.
So I did it, and I want to say this. Let me put this out there. I don't recommend most people to take apart a ratchet, especially a 1/4-inch drive. And the reason is, and I do have a question about it. Under the pawl sits a little, what do you call that D10 piece that the spring goes into? What do you call that? It's when you change direction. There's that little bullet-shaped piece that sits on the spring that loads the pawl. I don't know what they call that, but to put that back in and let it stay there and then get the pawl on top of it so you can put the drive head on, it took a while. Let's just...
Yeah, there's a small spring and you slide that into that sleeve and then you slide that down into the ratchet. And then you take the, you have the changeover thing in there, huh?
But that doesn't stay down in the ratchet. It wants to spring up under spring.
Well, you have it sitting up, and then you take the pawl, you take the dog leg,
right?
And when you slide that down over top of it, you hold it with your thumbnail, and then you put the gears in.
Okay, I was using an X-Acto blade, because it's really a tight tolerance.
Oh yeah, it's tight and small.
I turned it to the right. I turned it to the left. And I said, maybe I should put a dab of, I actually had a little bit of light oil. I was thinking maybe a dab of grease would hold it. Then I noticed on that pawl, it could kind of go either way, up or down, and it's cut a little different. I guess I picked the right way because it's...
Yeah, the deep cut faces outward. Now, you should have done that. Now, see, in the old days, we used to have a little ball bearing that sat on there.
Yes. So wait, which way is outwards? Toward you, to the back of the ratchet, or the front of the ratchet?
The deeper cut is facing you.
Okay. So the whole question I had about this was, and that's the tech thing, when someone, or if someone does take a ratchet apart and can get it back together without having to send it back to the tool man, which you guys are great. That's why guys on tool trucks are phenomenal. They'll do this for you. You know, if I would have brought that ratchet to the tool guy and said, here, can you fix this? He would have done it. Just to back up, to get the rust off and all, I did put it in some cleaner, in my ultrasonic cleaner, and it came out beautiful. It wasn't pitted rust, it was just surface rust.
Yeah.
So the question I have is, and we've kind of covered this before, the recommended lubricant is, some people say grease, others say oil, some people say transmission fluid, some people say Mobil 1. What say you?
I use a synthetic oil, or I use air tool oil. I use usually it's air tool oil that I use, and
okay,
or I have a synthetic. Actually, I really like that stuff that you sent me, the Trizoil or whatever.
Yes, Trizoil, very good stuff.
Yeah,
very, very light and viscous. Now, I was going to use that. And instead, I have a little bottle of what was this stuff called Tough Oil. It's straight PTFE.
Yeah.
In fact, next week's guest, Lake Speed, talks about PTFE. It's polytetrafluorate. It's like a 14-letter word, but it's just like straight silicone almost. It's like just the lubricant that's in other things. And I used a little bit of that, and because at one point, a few years ago, I was bored, and in the summer, I sat outside. I had a cigar. I had the music on. I had whatever beverage I was drinking that I enjoyed, and I just took all my ratchets apart, and I think I just gave them a little bit of grease. But some of the older ones, some of the Craftsman ratchets I have, didn't like that. They just didn't. They didn't grab anymore.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's hard to. We went through a period of time with lubricant because we had like hydro lock. It would get in between the teeth and the gears, and it would not grab or hold. And that's one of the reasons we had problems like with grease. Guys would put grease in them, and the grease was too thick, and it would actually not allow the gear and the ratchet to come together.
That's what happened with these Craftsman ratchets that I had. It was,
And I've done it before where I've impatiently put a little bit too much oil into the ratchet,
uh-huh,
put it together, and you go to spin and it will freewheel
right,
because
right.
there's too much oil. And you gotta, hopefully, you don't take it back apart, but you get it worked around enough that by the time you get back in the shop, it's all good. But I've had to take them back apart and take some of the grease out or oil out. So it's a very fine line. Some guys rebuild them and don't put grease in them,
No, 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 no.
and they still work, but you got to watch how much.
I think I would say this on the older ratchets, the ones that I say have like 12 teeth, and that's when you watch a YouTube video and the guy grabs a ratchet and you hear going that old clicking sound like
Yeah.
this guy hasn't bought a ratchet in like 25 years. Those I think could take the grease better than the modern 90, 100, 120 tooth ratchets. Those are so fine, you know.
Yeah,
I
they get super fine in there, and you like I said, literally it's like a hydro lock between the dog leg and the gear, and if you have too much grease in there. So I like light, like I said, 3-in-1 Marvel mystery oil,
yeah.
um that
Remember the,
trizoid that you guys sent me, it's actually really good. I use it on a lot of my outdoor guy stuff
oh wow.
because of the protectability
Right. Do
on
you
it.
remember the little rascals bit? They were in school. What was their school team? Miss Crabtree, I think, right? And they said, "I can't see us alfalfa, alfalfa." They're doing math. Doing some math. She goes, "What's 3-in-1?" He says, "Oil." It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah,
So yeah,
good.
but like I said, again, to reiterate on that, I don't recommend people take these things apart by themselves because the other problem I had was I have this pair of very fairly low, maybe they're electronic, but the electronic tools, they may be 2.5-inch long needle nose, but they're very fine. The what
Oh, the
blades?
tip.
What do you call the ends of a needle nose plier? Is it the
Yeah,
jaw? I guess
yeah.
they're very fine and narrow because you can do electronic work. So I was using that to put that sleeve over the spring, and of course, every time I went to take it away, the sleeve came with it because why? They're magnetized.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. So
Yeah, if you just take the spring and put that into the cone, and then take that and put that in the hole, just let it sit there.
right.
Don't force or try to hold it down.
Well, you can't
Um,
because the spring is going to push it back up.
yeah, you just gotta. It all has to kind of balance. Try that on the back of a tool truck with three guys and 95-degree weather, and everybody says rebuild this.
Right.
So you
Right.
just get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, and that's why I say if you have a tool guy on a tool truck, that's why, Brian, you guys are invaluable because the deli guy makes and cuts your sandwich. The tool guy will rebuild that ratchet for you, and that's a service he provides. And that's why we talk about, everybody wants to save money, but if you do use a tool guy on a tool truck, yeah, maybe you're going to spend a little money in the long run on the tools, but you're going to get that kind of service that you're not going to get from, certainly not from Harbor Freight or not from, if Sears was there. Sears used to just do an exchange. Um, you know, we all have our favorite ratchets. You don't want to give it away. You want to keep it. So that's one of that's probably the number one thing on my list of why I would say tool trucks are so valuable in the industry. It's service, customer service, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, well, like you said, not waiting for. Like I said, I got guys that have a pile of broken stuff from other places, and I go by each week and it's still sitting there, and I just haven't had time or haven't gone back or whatever.
Yeah,
And we're there weekly in and out and take care of those things.
yeah,
So
exactly. That's it. That's it. So another point of failure that's come up. We've talked about this in the last few weeks is batteries, car batteries. I had a failure on my wife's car a few weeks ago that was just sudden. One day the car was fine, the next day nothing. Well, I saw Eddie, the guy that owns that 442 that I did all the work on last year. I saw him yesterday. Hey Ed, I forgot to bring the damn hat. He made me a nice beautiful embroidered hat. Thank you again, Ed, for that. It was very nice. But he was saying the 442, a couple times throughout the year, he went out to start it and he had battery issues and he had a new battery. So we're talking about brands and the ones that didn't work and whatnot. He finally went out and bought an opto and red top for the thing. And he says, now it just starts. I said, maybe there could be a small parasitic drawer that, you have to. He goes, no, I don't think so. I think it's just these batteries don't last. And I have to agree. I've had problems with some of the name brand batteries myself. So we were talking again about some further work. Of course, that car is going to get now a rebuilt close ratio steering box because the steering box was leaking. He asked us to fix it. So I took it out of the car. Well, in the car, I tried to replace the seals. Couldn't get it, couldn't work. I said, let's take it out. So good thing we took it out because the bottom bolt, there's 3 bolts that hold the box through the chassis. And the bottommost and the next one up were rusted to look like barnacles, just points. So it's a good thing we got that out and put new bolts in it. So we did it on the bench. Actually, Steve from the other shop was in on the job. He helped me out a lot with that. And we changed the seals, got it together on the sector shaft. Everything was fine. And he says, now, the box is kind of leaking pretty bad. I'm like, Chinese seals. This was the kit that was in a white box with 2 seals and a washer. And it was like, no, not that you need instructions, but no. I mean, listen, some people don't know which end of a seal goes up and down. So a picture would have been nice. So I said, that's Ed, we shot for the moon with this stuff. We did it the cheap way, and you know what? Right now we're going to do it the expensive way. It's going to be a new box.
Yeah. That's unfortunately that's a really terrible situation. This trying to save a nickel ends up costing you a dime on a lot of this stuff.
Right.
So I have to admit, I ordered some stuff. And it was they picture what they, that's the other thing that really gets you. They show you a picture and the picture is what you want, but then you get that white box with, a barcode on it, and then you have no idea if it really is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Or if it's going to fit or work. And this fit, but it sure as heck didn't work too well. So we'll be
that. I had that just drives me crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know if we have enough time to go through all that today.
I definitely don't know. I don't think we do. But so that was good. Got to see Ed. Haven't seen him in a while, and such a great car. That was the thing. I was telling another guy recently. We were talking about working on cars and doing things. I said, I like it. I enjoy it. I always did. It's something I've done all my life. I said, but now it's shifted for me because you do the job, you get paid, you make some money. That's nice. You get to play with your hobbies and buy the stuff you like. But I said, for me now, the new thing has been like with Eddie, handing that car back to a guy who hasn't driven it in 20, 30 years and going for a drive with him and watching his reaction to driving his old car again. That's the real payback for me now. It's like, that is so cool, and we need more of it. It's just, we definitely need more of it. Like you, I was watching Tony DeFeo, Uncle Tony last night. He did a video. He was talking about the projects in his shop and how he's been pulled away because he's doing stuff at home. But he said, I haven't been here in the shop, but he says, now it's going to take me a while to get the wheels spinning again, to get back in the groove of working on things. And he says, and this is what I tell people, and I agree with Tony 100%. He says, you got to just start chipping away at something a little at a time. And even if that's all you do, just a little bit at a time, it keeps that project fresh, keeps your head involved. And then when you want to when you have a day you could do some heavy work, you're just all in. It's like jumping in the pool full force.
Oh, most definitely. I tell you, yesterday,
I thought
I came down yesterday and I was like, man, I really don't feel 100% in doing something, but I said, you just got to do something. You got to keep it going. And actually, I filled, of course, until I broke my phone, but I took care of a rust hole in the frame rail. Cut it, trimmed it, welded it in. And I was like, when I got done, I was like, wow, it felt really good getting something, one more thing
Yeah. Yeah.
done.
It doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to, sometimes just cleaning up and making things ready for the next time is a good enough feeling, because you say, good, I got that out of the way. Now, hey, it looks okay. I can come back tomorrow, next week, whenever, and I'm ready to go. So it doesn't have to be monumental. But I will say this, in retrospect, those little things are monumental, because it keeps that flow going, like Tony said. And you don't, so many guys that, once they close that door, they're out of it, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know, and it could be weeks, or I'm going to go golf, and I'm going to go this, I'm going to go that. And it's, it doesn't happen again. So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
I see. Yeah, you got boxes moved. Things have moved in your world over there. There's things shifted. I never got to,
Oh yeah, it changes.
never got to see the taillights before. They're looking nice. That's good.
Yeah. No, like I said, hopefully I get some better pictures and we can post them on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just like I said, I'm so bad. By the time I think about it, I'm
yeah.
like, man, I lost that moment.
Yeah,
But
I'll tell you what's worse. A lot of times when I'm at the shop or even at home working on something, and I want to take pictures to post for whatever I'm doing. Now, your hands are dirty. You're working, and you got to say, "Oh, give me the phone," and you got to like. And I love taking pictures. It's one of my hobbies I've had all my life, but it becomes a real pain in the neck when you're trying to be productive. I
yeah.
don't know how guys do video. I really don't. You got to have somebody do it for you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've had it before where I've just turned on the video and just let it run. But
Yeah.
then I find myself like it's filming over here and I'm on the other side. So it's kind of like,
I'll tell you something. Mike had something. He lent it to me. He has it at the shop a while ago. It's a little tripod, and it is a small one, and it has a motor base. And you put your phone on it or your small camera, and it'll follow you. It follows the motion. It's pretty cool. So if you're working here, if you go over there, the camera turns. Um, so that's an alternative. Otherwise, like I've always asked Terry, how long does it take you to edit one of your videos? Because oh God, it takes me. Maybe the video is maybe a 10-minute video. It took me 9 hours to edit it. I'm like, oh
yeah,
God, no. Who's got that kind of time? I don't know.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
So I'll
Very
tell you
true.
what time we do have. It's the bottom of the hour, and I do need to read. Oh, good. I got to read that I like here. I want to mention to you, fine people out there, that you can win a $100 gift card to Uncle Bacala's Italian Seafood and More, just for downloading and using the free WHPC app. Brian, you would love Uncle Bacala's. You ever get up here? I'm taking you there for dinner. You're going to love it. If you listen to WHPC anytime and anywhere and register to win this $100 gift card inside the WHPC app, you'll be you'll be happy. Uncle Bacala's Italian Seafood and More is located at 23-70 Jericho Turnpike in Garden City Park, and the WHPC app is located in your Google Play or Apple App Store. Good luck from the voice of Nassau Community College and the free WHPC app. Which takes me to my trip of looking out the weather window, the WHPC weather window. And this forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Uniondale. Today, Father's Day, considerable cloudiness with rain. There was a show at the train station right by my house. Everybody was under the train trying to stay dry. Rain showers, occasional rain showers, high around 65. Tonight, cloudy skies early, then off and on rain showers again with a low of 59. Overcast tomorrow. I think this week is going to be rainy. I hope it clears up by the end of the week, because that's when I'm heading south. So this is where we usually have the honor group of the hour. But do you have any words of wisdom for the folks, or Father's Day messages that you want to throw out there?
Unfortunately, no, but I do have to strongly say is that keep moving forward on your projects.
That's the best
I,
thing. Yes.
I cannot, I tell you, just like so many, and you have friends, family, and people rooting along with you because they want to see that project done.
Right.
And if you just spend a couple of moments and just get it done.
I will tell you, it's more than a couple moments, but when I got my car done, and I didn't even have an interior, I had 2 seats. I had, no panels, no carpet. It transmitted every noise. And I was taking my daughters for rides, blasts down the highway, and they were like, "Wow, this car is great! Oh my God, it's like a carnival ride." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." And they said, my one daughter said, "I really never knew. I never thought the car. After seeing it in all the parts, I never thought it would go back together. Like, how do you know how to do that?" And I said, "Well, that's my super talent. What can I tell you?" I said, "I built models as a kid, and this is just a big model out of metal instead of plastic, bolts instead of glue." I said, and you know where the parts go. I said, that's how it works. But to see her and their thoughts about it of like, wow, this was pretty, they were like impressed that it went back together, which made me feel good. I'm like, okay, that's good. So making other people feel good is always a good thing. So, all right, so we're going to go back to some doctor music here because we all need a trip on the couch, I think, one of these back and forth. And we'll be back with more Motormouth Radio with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Matcoman Brian on this fine Father's Day. So keep it where you got it on 90.3 WHPC. Yes, we are Jive Talking on 90.3 WHBC, and that is Chris Switzer on cowbell, by the way. Don't let yourselves be fooled. Live read, and he plays cowbell, too, so this man is a talent.
Not at the same time.
Boy, you never said that in 12 years of doing the show on me.
No, but I have said this. 516-572-7440. Pick up the phone. Call us, for crying out loud.
That is true.
Come on. Come on, standing here talking to Ray.
I know. This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Okay, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my buddies at, what's the name of it again?
Motormouth Radio.
Hey, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my friends at Motormouth Radio. Sunday morning, I don't know what this fat bald guy's laughing about. You'll forget stuff soon enough too, my friend. Be sure to listen. When are you guys on? 10 a.m.?
Sundays at noon.
Noon on Sundays.
Excellent. This was
No, you got the promo. The best one was the first one. That's why I was. Because you said, what was the name of this again? That's the promo.
What better presentation could you do than that?
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motormouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
I'll tell you where we go from here. We go into the second half of the show with Ray and Brian, and that was our good friend, of course, Chassis John. I did send a message out to John's family today, wishing them a, how do you say, happy Father's Day when they've lost their father, but just to let them know that we're all thinking about him, and we always do, and that's how the memory of somebody stays alive. You keep talking about him and you share the stories, and that's it. That's my thought on that.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
So I will also say there was another car show. The one by me today is on, but there was one scheduled for yesterday up in Whitestone. Our good friend Billy was involved with this one. St. Mel's Church. It's postponed till Saturday, July 12th, from 10 a.m. to 4. It's a $20 donation. Registration is from 9 to 12. And let me see here if we have some contact information. Well, it's the Church of St. Mel's on 2615 154th Street in Flushing. You can contact, yes, I see. You can contact Chris, cfalco146 at AOL.com, or get in touch with us and we can pass you that information. Great show as always. Great people. So I guess, did you go out and did you have a local thing at the, oh no,
well, the local guys were out, but it's raining here too, and it's
Yeah.
cloudy, 65 and blah.
You had tire work to do.
Yeah, and then on top of that, playing around with doing tire work. But yeah, the old guys still go out and we hang out and tell stories, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, now, and that event by you on the Sunday is fairly big, right?
Oh yeah, it's fairly big. It's, you know, like I said, it's been going on for, man, it's got to be close to 30 years. And you never know what's going to come in. You just, it's the craziest thing. You could see, you know, Rolls Royce with a LS swap, or you could see a Model T, and
Right.
it's just crazy. Everything and anything comes through there. So it's a good show. And, you know, I think a lot of it, for us older guys, you know, we're not staying up late. We can get up early in the morning and go do that. That's usually earlier in the morning. So it
Right.
works out.
No, it's good. That's those long time ones are very cool. You know, it shows tradition and you know, gives people something to do. That's excellent. That's good. So yeah, and soon one of these days you're going to be driving. You'll be taking a Mustang over there, which the car's going to say, "Wait, look, it's out of the garage." And it's going to go, "Ah, what? What's that big thing in the sky? It's sunlight. Oh my God!"
Well, it is kind of funny because every once in a while, a fastback, you know, a 65 or 66, which is my year, something new will show up there. And I've had a few guys say, "Is that your car?"
Ah,
You
yeah.
know, and I'm like, no, mine's still in the garage. And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Right,
You
right.
know, so I figure the day that I take the car up there, I'm gonna get up there really, really early in the morning so nobody see who drove it
Oh,
in,
okay.
and just let it sit there and see how much it people started attracted to it.
So let me ask you, once the mechanicals are done, the car is running and ready to drive, are you going to drive it like that for a while, or are you going to have it painted?
That's a really good question. And well, not unfortunately, it's like the picture you sent me of your goat. I like the patina look, or I like I'm not a show queen.
Yeah, me
I
neither. I like my
I
car better in primer.
yeah, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's just that mine's coated in that beige,
No, yeah. No,
and I don't know if I can leave it that color.
Well,
I get asked when they see pictures like, "That's a weird color to paint your car," and I'm like, "Well, it's primer."
I've heard it all before. You know, my first Fiat Spider that I had, we did it in the acrylic enamel also, and that was the primer, that yellowish. It was Sickens, so it was that
Yeah.
yellow primer. I tell you, that stuff. A motorcycle fender fell in the car. It dented the panel, and the primer dented with it. It didn't chip. That stuff is so durable. The water beads up on it.
Yep.
It gets wet.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, now people, why did you paint your car yellow? I'm like, I didn't paint the car yellow. It's primer. But
Yeah.
no, I recommend doing that, driving it like that, because there's shakedown time. And I looked at it this way. I figured I'm going to be jacking that car up again and doing things, making modifications and changing things. And, you know, I don't want to do that with painted panels. I want to do that, you know, when it's a little rough and tumble still.
Yeah. So hopefully, you know, like I said, you get it all together, shake it down, drive it, and then I'll work on, you know, paint wise.
Right.
I, again, it would drive me crazy. But hopefully I can, get it painted. That
Okay.
would be nice.
Tell you what, we got the bat phone. Let's go back to the phone and say, hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths, Ray and Brian.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, I was just wondering, you're talking my kind of style of car.
Oh yeah. What's up,
Got
Glenn?
some dings and dents and some rot.
Right. Yeah. Well, a nice driver, right?
You don't have to worry about it.
Yep. Like Ray, you told me the whole trunk lid scenario, and well, oh no,
Yep.
problems, and you fast forward, you paint the whole car. But I was wondering, I wanted to ask Brian. I follow a little bit. I saw some of the playing in traffic, and I don't know where. I thought you were like a Fox body guy, maybe at one point. But
Yeah, I had 3. I had well, 2 of them.
yeah, I had a couple of those as well. But I was wondering where you're going with this. Your I guess original, like the Mustang you have and kept. If you're going to keep it like original, or more like, or is it going to be like a crazy, or more of like a track street car? Or
You sound like Chris.
Where's your vision?
And Brian, give you
Well,
the
I would
right
use the term resto mod, but I'm kind of a factory guy. A lot of the stuff that I have for it, like the 9-inch and the disc brakes, was all factory stuff from Lincoln for Sile and so forth. And I guess it's kind of hard, but it's going to be a resto mod type thing.
Yeah, but kind of maybe looks like a stock, or maybe more of like the plain. I like the plain Jane look.
Yeah, I'm not a flashy guy, so I don't have a lot of chrome. I prefer nickel, or my aluminum was never polished when I had it on the car. So, stock, plain, but it roars. Don't get me wrong. When she fires up and shakes the floor, there's something there. So,
what are your choices going to be for wheels, Brian? Have you decided, or is that up in to be decided?
Well, I have a set of Bob Glinton Pro Stars back in the day.
Okay.
But I really like the I like the Magnum 500s, non-chrome, the painted version, which is kind of hard.
Right.
So hopefully I can keep it that way. I keep, I talk to Ray all the time. I kind of get sidetracked and I think I want to go down this way, and I'm just trying to get what I have, because I've got probably 75% of the parts. I just want to get it going, get it together, and get it moving.
Right. That's the way to do it, because it's going to change. Yeah. I'm still changing stuff on my car 6-7 years later. I'm changing it, and people say, "Hey, the car is done." I'm like, no, it's not. Well, it looks done. Yeah, it looks done, but I'm still changing stuff because, now just through attrition, just through working through things. I don't like the way the brakes feel, or I don't like the way, whatever, wheelchair. I mean, there's 1,000 things. I just did more electrical work in the car. Just, now I'm ripping the interior apart, changing the carpet, changing the column. It's, it's as time and money allows. So.
Yep. That's what I'm always after. Like I called last week, time.
Right.
I'm trying to straighten up a little bit in the garage, because things pile up, and then it's like, honestly, it's a mess. It's like,
well, you go the other way too, Glenn. You go to that other dark side where you have, the thing that sits on a trailer, not the race car. That'd be bad enough, but the boat.
The boat, yeah. And I've been on and off, like we're talking like the car stuff, and there was a period of time not to say I didn't open the garage or look at the car, but it just wasn't run or sitting there with a dead battery.
Yeah.
And eventually it's like, oh, got to do something, got to use it.
Yeah. It happens,
It's life.
Yeah, stuff happens all the time. I mean, listen, we all fall prey to that. But the idea, and what I tell people is, again, I'll use myself as an example. When I was taking my car apart, doing all the dirty work, and, you're out there every day and you're like, oh man, hot, sweaty and rusty, and you get through it and you're like, I'd rather be in the pool or doing something else. Then you're putting it back together. I would come in some days early and my wife would say, hey, you're a little early. Dinner's not ready. What are you doing? I'm like, you know what? I closed the door. I'm done.
I'm done. I had it.
Why? What's the matter? I said, well, let's just say I went like 2 steps forward, but 4 steps back today.
Yeah.
Basically, the thing I had planned blew up in my face, not literally. That could happen too. But figuratively, I said, and I told her, I said, but here's the difference. I'm gonna get cleaned up. We're gonna have a nice dinner. Tomorrow I'm going back out there and I'm just gonna take apart what I put together, redo it from scratch, and that's the difference. I said, because when guys don't do that, maybe that door doesn't open for a few weeks, and then it's like you're putting boxes on top of it or pool toys, and
that could be months. And that ends in
years. And I said, and that's how guys like us pick up good projects, because the thing the guy never finished, and sometimes the guy realizes, oh, I'm over my head, I can't do this, and he's too embarrassed to take it somewhere. I'll take it.
You always said you can get the project or the parts at pennies on the dollar, and
exactly,
there are all those cars that are out there.
Exactly.
I still see them, and I saw another car the other day. I should have taken more pictures, or I should stop and take more pictures. They are out there. It's amazing what you see.
Now, Glenn's talking about when he's working, Brian, because he sent me a picture last week of a Camaro and a Cuda sitting in a shop. Like he was on a roof somewhere, but.
No, I was up in the bucket. I was in the cherry picker checking out. I get the bird's eye view. I'm looking down. I'm like, look at that disco era Camaro.
I like that Camaro.
I saw something like that.
I would have rocked that Camaro, no problem.
Yeah, the fender flares, and I'm like, man, that's kind of neat. That, like a '77 Berlinetta, and like just done up.
Right.
You don't see stuff like that. But that Cuda that guy is. There's always cool Plymouths and stuff like that there.
Right.
In that little shop.
Very cool.
Anyway, carry on. I just was hoping, the projects, you see it through, and I'm going to hope that I keep doing the same.
Yeah.
And enjoy Father's Day.
Okay. Thanks, Glenn. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
We'll talk
Take care, Glenn. Nice talking to you.
All right, we got another one on the line. We're going to back this right up, and we're going to say, hey, caller, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, man? This is Tony.
What's up, Tony?
Tony.
Until you guys talk. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm on with Brian today, Matcoman Brian.
Oh, my bad. I'm driving. I'm on the southern state.
Oh.
So I'm kind of weaving in and out of traffic. But I'm listening to these projects, and I got a call a little while ago. A guy was putting together a 61 Corvette, Art Morrison chassis, a brand new LS3, brand new 6-speed. He left it in his garage halfway out with the door open for like 2 years. And I wanted to cry when I saw this thing. I'm like, dude, how could you treat this like this? Yeah, I spent a lot of money. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I always say I equate that to my version of lawn care. I tell my wife I should take the hundreds, put them through the cross shredder, and just distribute them out on the lawn, because that's about as good as my lawn's going to get anyway.
Yeah, man.
So that's a waste of money is what that was. That's a shame.
A real way. And now he's trying to get top dollar. I'm like, nobody's going to pay what you want for this, dude.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. I
see it a lot.
I had a call and saying, I'm interested in that Mustang, man. Good luck on that Mustang, man.
Oh, yeah. No, Brian is making good headway. It's going to be a great car.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to call my 2 cents because you guys were talking about it. I'm like, I got to tell him about this knucklehead, man,
Yeah, they're out there. And, yeah, thanks for sharing the story, Tony. It's always a pleasure.
Not a problem, man. Not a
Take
problem.
care, Tony.
And enjoying the show.
All right. Thanks, brother.
You got it, buddy.
All right. So look, actually, that's wild that a guy would do that. But
yeah, that's crazy, Ray. I know people like that, and I wish I had their money to throw away like that. It's amazing.
I know. Isn't it nutty? To do that and willfully just let that. Now, I'm curious, like, why? Like, okay, you know what? Maybe the guy had a medical issue and he couldn't get out there. It could have been something really, really legit that took him out. And then you say, okay, well, what are you gonna do? It is what it is. That's life.
A lot of times, though, Ray, it's like you said. It's just like the guy, you weld something wrong and you get halfway through. That's my biggest fear with doing all this work on my Mustang is if I weld something wrong and I don't know or I don't catch it in time, and you get so far down the road, and then you realize you got to cut it all out or whatever. That's scary part.
That's actually happened to friends of ours. I know, and it is that's a real killer. That's a major setback. But it's all the more reason, to keep it going. And It's hard, but that, maybe maybe that means that's the time to call in call in the expert, or maybe that's the time to bring the car to a shop and say, all right, I did this, I screwed up, can you fix it?
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
someone else is better off fixing it.
I mean, at least, in our community, there's a lot of people we talk, like I said, that's one thing about the car guys. They're great. There's a lot of people that can help. You have to ask questions sometimes, or, even if you don't like the answer, but, the most important, and I will admit, I've become a little bit more patient, but it's test fit, test fit, test fit, tack weld, test fit again, then maybe welded in.
Okay, with welding, that's one thing. I agree. Like a lot of the stuff that I run into where I'm mounting things, like making brackets that have to go in space. I told the story before, I'll tell it again. When I had the nose was off my car and I had the engine in and I was putting the brakes in and I said, okay, I got to put this proportioning valve somewhere. And I made a bracket to put it on the firewall so the lines would come to the master nice. And then it hit me. I said, wow, where is the inner fender going to be? Like, you kind of know how it goes in the car on a GM is what I'm talking about. But without it actually there, you don't know for sure if you're going to be,
Right.
an eighth of an inch away or an inch away. And sure enough, once I put the nose on, I saw it. Yeah, it's a little, I could have probably left it where it was, but if I had to service it and take the lines off, then it would have been a problem. So I had to move it. I had to move it to another location and make a couple of lines. And
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. And that was probably one of the things with because I did not have any fenders for the longest time until I got. So every time I tried to do anything, I had to say, well, the fender goes where and where is it mounted to? You had to get a general idea, but once you start building that stuff and you want to, hide that stuff or out of the way, you gotta know where everything's going.
so sometimes you need to have other things in place before you can hide stuff. And then you have to stop what you're doing. So you stall one end of the project to get more work done to do it again later. And that's why I say sometimes, just it all depends. Everything is, even when I did the sniper conversion, now I had a whole nother wiring harness and I had a control box, and I found the perfect spot for a control box. It was right on the fender, the core support on the driver's side of the car vertically, and it would tuck right in there, and it made the harness layout nice. And then I did something that most guys don't do. I read the instructions in the manual, and it said, you can mount it any way you want. Just don't mount it like this. And it's exactly how I had it. And I was like, why? It's an electronic box. They were looking at water coming, even though it's a weather pack connector, they were looking at water coming in. And I said, I could probably leave it here. I'm not going to be out in the water in the rain much. But no, I took it, I moved it, I put it on the firewall where I didn't want to put it. But I said, okay, at least, let me avoid that problem. So yeah, and still every time I look under the hood, I see the couple of relays, the fuse, that box, the coil that now is on the firewall. I'm like, I had that all clean before and I wanted to keep it non-cluttered. Now it's there. The good thing is it's all the same color, black. So
yeah. Well, I got lucky. I have a customer that had a 67 coupe that he had cut up and it was, non-repairable. He actually bought it for a parts car for his. But I asked him, one of the things was, can I take your radiator support?
Uh-huh.
And the reason why is because I want to put a 24-inch radiator in mine, but
Oh,
I want the factory look.
sure.
And, that way I could take his support and cut it and make one to go together instead of just, cutting mine out for that and have the factory mounts and so forth. But going along the line, it's just replacing everything because they are different between the two. So
exactly.
but I know we're at the end.
Yeah, we are at the end. And I want to tell people something. Go to YouTube and look up Matco tools on YouTube. They just put a video up that I sent you a link to, Brian, which is kind of funny. It's about guys going fishing. It's a real, I don't know who's doing the video, but these guys are getting a sense of humor. I recommend you check it out. So we're going to be out for 2 weeks. You can hear a replay. You're going to hear Lake Speed and Alana Sherry. You'll have a good time with them. Brian, hopefully you'll blow up the YouTube channel again today when I post this. What do you got
Please
to say?
do.
What do you say to me what do I say to people in the parking lot on the way out?
You can't come home with us unless you have a ham sandwich.
No, there you go. A ham sandwich sounds good. Brian, thank you very much for sitting in for Chris. I'll see you again in 3 weeks when you're back for a double duty, and we'll talk very soon.
That sounds great. You guys be safe, play nice.
All right, from Motormouth Radio, we're over and out, 90.3 WHPC. See ya.